This Friday, North Texans will pause to remember 50 years since the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
There will be a lot of focus this week on what happened that fateful day. A new Gallup poll reveals that more than half of Americans still believe in JFK conspiracy theories.
In fact, 61% of Americans still believe that other people, in addition to gunman Lee Harvey Oswald, were involved in the assassination. That's the lowest percentage actually in nearly 50 years. When asked to name who those others might have been, 40% didn't name anyone. 13% said the mafia, 13% said the federal government, 7% said the CIA. Just 5 years ago, that number of Americans who believed others, in addition to Oswald, were involved was somewhere near 80%. So again, it's down to about 61%, the lowest it's been in some time. Also this morning, an interesting write-up in the New York Times, an opinion piece about Dallas's role in the assassination of the president.
Yeah, the writer James McCauley is very critical of the city of Dallas then and now. Here's what he writes about the commemoration. Quote, "Dallas being Dallas, it will be quite the show. A jet flyover, a performance from the Naval Academy Men's Glee Club, and remarks from the historian David McCullough on Kennedy's legacy." He continues, "But once again, spectacle is likely to trump substance. Not one word will be said at this event about what exactly the city was in 1963 when the president arrived in what he called, just moments before his death, nut country." So we wanted to get your take on this as well this morning.
Yeah, we've posted the full article on our Facebook page. Give us your thoughts on it. His grandparents actually were born and brought up in Dallas, this particular opinion writer. I'm not exactly sure whether or not he grew up in Dallas, but it seems to be one of the probably most myopic, closed-minded pieces of opinion I've ever seen. He talks about how Dallas is the city that's here for no reason because there's no river, no resources of its own. You could say that about a dozen other modern American cities, right? Phoenix, for example, they don't even have water, for goodness sakes. And in the meantime, if you go to the sixth floor museum, there's absolutely nobody turning a blind eye to the political climate of the time and what was happening here. And decisions were made about the president's visit to Texas, which were made by the White House itself. Not blaming anyone, but the car could have been covered with that plastic bubble. It could have been covered with the hard top. They made the decision that they wanted it to be open to the public. That's the decision they made.
Well, in the article, like you said, he talks about how nothing's going to be mentioned about the city of hatred that it was 50 years ago.
How does he know that?
Well, first of all, how does he know that? Number two, why would we talk about hatred from 50 years back? Why not focus on the present and what is of today? In fact, way deep in the article, he said, to be fair, pretending to forget has helped Dallas achieve some remarkable accomplishments in the years since, like the completion of Dallas-Fort Worth International, the development of the astonishingly successful Cowboys franchise, and the creation of what remains one of the country's most electric local economies.
Nobody ever pretended to forget that it happened here, but I think
but you have to move on, right?
No city is defined by events that happen there entirely. They're shaped by it and remembered for it. New York City isn't entirely defined by 9/11 or anything that's happened before it. We are the city where it happened, and I think where it happened has become secondary to the fact that it did happen, and we learned from it. Security for our presidents has changed since then, and the way these situations are handled has changed. So let us know what you think. And reminder, stay with News 8 as we mark 50 years. This Friday, we'll take you back in time, letting you see what our viewers saw that very day.
Friday at 1 p.m., following our live coverage of the Dealey Plaza observance, we will air 2 hours from our coverage on November 22nd, 1963. Some of the footage hasn't been seen in 50 years. It'll air with no commercial breaks. You can watch it live, watch it online, or set your DVRs this Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. I know that I will be watching.
Yeah, that's going to be fascinating.